us on Instagram. Better follow me at Philly Jam 95.3 FM. You're listening to the Turn Up. Lil Queen on Philly Jams 95.3.
Oh, what's up, everybody? It's your girl, Tasha Little Queen, and I am back on here. Oh my God, I'm so excited to be here tonight. I hope my microphone's not too loud, but I can't turn it down because I have a special guest on tonight. Okay. What's up, y'all? It's your girl, Tasha Little Queen on Philly Jams 95.3. It's the Turn Up Show. I'm so excited to be back in action and all that good stuff. I have an excellent show lined up for y'all. I have a special guest. Yeah. And it's really interesting because it's not the norm. It ain't about music this time. You know what I mean? It's a little bit more. It's about some African mythology, the Juneteenth event, documentary, cosplay, yeah, all that good stuff. So what we gonna do right now, right? I'm gonna go ahead and play a little something for y'all real quick before we get started, just to get y'all in the mood, get y'all tuned in a little bit, and then we come back. When we come back, we're gonna jump into this interview. So make sure y'all follow me on Instagram, Tasha Little Queen, TASHALILQUEEN. Make sure y'all follow Philly Jams, also Philly Jams 95.3 FM on Instagram and Facebook. And this song that I'm about to play, right? You don't even know I'm doing this. This is an artist from here. His name is Amit. His artist name is Golden Draco. Okay. This is a song that I was featured on with him. We made this some time ago, and I'm just going to just put it on for y'all real quick here on Philly Jams 95.3.
Follow us on Instagram. Better follow me at Philly Jam 95.3 FM. PC Beats. Follow us on Instagram. Better follow me at Philly Jam 95.3 FM.
Okay, and just like that, we are back. I gave you the short version because it is a little lengthy. So yeah, that was Amit's first song world premiere. But I'm ready to jump into this interview because I got this young man waiting, and he's patient. He's very patient. Ladies and gentlemen, it's none other than HELLSPAWN. Give it up. Where's my claps at, man?
Good evening. How you doing?
How are you? Oh, there. Sorry. I'm so sorry. When you are your
Thank
own
you.
engineer,
Please.
like-
No pictures.
Yeah, so there we go. Hi, what's up? What's going on?
Hi. It's a late night for me. Uh, I get up at 4 o'clock in the morning every day.
Oh, look. We ain't gonna be before you long, like they say in church. But I'm loving how the backgrounds are almost similar. Like we had the same idea in mind. I
Yeah, yeah.
love
You do enough. I don't know. You do enough collecting of the things that you're passionate about. You just can't help but to fill at least one room in your house with it all.
right. So, Mr. Hall, should I call you that? You go by
Demetrius is fine.
Demetrius is fine.
Hellspawn is
Okay, it just
yeah,
sounds so
Demetrius is fine.
professional. So, listen, do you also use HELLSPAWN?
When I'm at conventions, when people like just call me out, yeah, that's the easiest thing. So,
HELLSPAWN.
it's yeah, it's it's weird still, but
Hmm.
I guess I need to get used to it. I guess whatever.
Okay, so you from Baltimore, right? I don't know why I thought you was from Jersey all this time.
No, no. Oh, I'm from PG County, Maryland. Born in
Okay,
Portugal, but PG County raised, and I bought a house out in Baltimore because it was cheaper to do so.
I know that's right. That's what I'm talking about. So I see
The
that
further away
you're.
you from DC you get, the better the houses and the better the prices.
That is true. It's a little pricey up this way. But I
Mm,
also see that you're into the cosplay. You go to Comic Con, and I see you got your son involved in stuff that you do, and I think that is so cute and fantastic. Like
thank you.
we got to get into this. How did this start for you? Because I think I came across your page or something like that, and we were talking about the Juneteenth documentary at first, but I want to jump
Right.
into how you got started in the cosplay arena because arena. Look at me, wrong
No,
word.
that's fine.
But like from the beginning, like where did it start for you?
Okay, so as far as cosplay proper, I got a divorce back in 2017, and I
Mm-hmm.
needed something other to do, something new to do, um, than bodybuilding, which is something that I did with my ex-wife. So, I was in the bodybuilding competitions, I was in the gym a lot, and I had been going to comic book conventions for years, just a few years, but not too often. And I never knew that cosplay was a thing. I just thought like, oh, it's cool. People are dressed up as their favorite characters at the conventions, and that's it. I didn't know there was a community. I didn't know there was charitable events. I didn't know there were like initiatives people were using, forward and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't until Awesome Con 2017 when I first cosplayed as Kratos, that I got like really into it, and it just became a passion that I didn't know that I was going to have. You
Mm-hmm.
know, you're looking around, like if I was to spin this camera around and I show you the entire room, you would see everything that I've been collecting since I was 4 years old. And
Wow.
it's a natural thing to become a cosplayer when you have the right props, or you have props that just happen to be toys, or things that just happen to look
Mm-hmm.
like the characters that you are passionate about. And the more that I did it, the more I put money behind it.
Right.
um that divorce settlement was gracious, and when I refinanced the house, I had some extra cash, so went from Kratos to Sub Zero, and that first cosplay as Sub Zero, I think rounded out about a grand, about $1,000, with everything that I pieced together. And from there, I just realized that if you're going to be doing this, you have
Mm-hmm.
to full ass it, can't half ass it,
Right.
and from there, it just I was doing subtle things, things I was having a good time with. And there was a there's a veteran cosplayer named Eric the Smoke Moran, who lives in Philadelphia,
Mm-hmm.
and he is a former pro wrestler, and he's been doing this cosplay thing since like the late 80s, early 90s, but of course it just wasn't that prevalent,
Mm-hmm.
and it just wasn't seen like it is now. And so he's been in it, he's in a position to give back, so he has this thing called Smoke Con, every year at his house, where he has like several photographers come and shoot who, people he hand selects to come in their cosplays and get professional photos taken so that you could put them out there.
Wow.
And when you first get into cosplay, you just think it's just getting into a costume and
Right. Right.
just having a good time with friends at a convention or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But if you decide that you want to do it on a professional level,
Mm-hmm.
then you can't take pictures in front of your mom's like cabinet in her kitchen, or you know what I mean, like you can't have like your Nintendo DS taking photos, of you, and you're trying to get it out there.
Right.
So so you take opportunities that are given to you and you
Right.
maximize on it, right? So I had like maybe 5 or 6 cosplays by that time. I think it was like October. No, it was December 2017.
Okay.
And I was having a good time, and time goes by and I decide, all right, let me do this one cosplay that I'm going to do one time, and I'm going to train for it like I would any other bodybuilding competition.
Mm-hmm.
And then it'll be the one time that I do it. And that was my He-Man cosplay. And I did that 14 months into getting into this thing, and that kind of changed things overnight for me, where I kind of hate to use this analogy, but it's so apropos. They they say that whenever the LGBTQ community likes something, then everyone else in the community everyone else in the world will like it. Just like
Definitely
disco.
heard that.
If the gays love it, then everyone else will love it. So
I've heard that. Yeah.
yeah, my photos of my He-Man got shared around on Reddit by the gamer, and shout out to them. And it kind of sparked something where, to this day, and that was what, 4 years ago now, I'm still getting artwork of people, with their renditions of what my He-Man would look like in their art style, or I'm getting um people doing 3D models for their D&D characters based on my cosplay. And I've got a couple action figures, that I didn't commission or whatever, but people decided that this is what they needed to have. I've got Funko Pops that have been sold. I've
Wait, let me see that again.
oh, right here.
I knew I was like the one with the afro. Yeah, 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 yeah,
Yeah. So there's that. Let's say the Afro. I mean the Funko Pops that have been selling pretty well. I raised $20,000 for a Kickstarter program where I am currently creating animated PSAs to let our Black children know that their Black heroes exist.
yeah.
Uh,
Oh my gosh.
then from there I've been in talks with Mattel, and we've had serious conversations about them helping me help them.
Right.
And it all comes down to followers. I
Right.
need to have a 500,000 followers in order for Mattel to invest money in me. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. Like I'm not that kind. I'm not a Twitch guy. I am not
Mm-hmm.
somebody who's on TikTok all the time. I am not
Mm-hmm.
somebody who, I don't do lewd like stuff that would gain massive amounts of attention, because we all know sex sells. So,
Absolutely.
like I just work. I have ideas, I have initiatives, I got teams of people that believe in what I'm doing, and they help out, and like they find me the right people to work with, and we're getting things done. And
Right.
it's always going to be a team effort, always has been a team effort. And there are things that are happening right now, like possibly getting a TV deal where we will
Wow.
be doing a docu-series on cosplay, on Black cosplay.
Right. And
So
it
I,
should be because it's not really really popular. Right now we kind of just have hip hop, sports, basketball, football, and stuff like that. So this is something that for me, I'm definitely interested in it. You know what I mean?
mhm.
Like that's on my list of things to do in 2023. Go to a Comic Con, do cosplay, or just be in the loop. Like I want to do this is something different. I want to go camping too, and some other just the stuff out of the typical everyday black life. I want to do
But think
something
about
different.
it though. Think about it. Whenever we touch things that was, I guess, originated, if they can call it originated, by white folks. We kind of put a little bit of razzle dazzle on it, and
Yes.
you know, I mean, I don't know. I just made a post yesterday where I was thinking that every Halloween, you normies,
Oh
let me
yeah, I
know
saw that. Yep.
that y'all could be some dope ass cosplayers, but y'all let societal norms inhibit your inner child and your inner nerd. Because like
Mhm.
you could look at Diddy, his Joker or Halloween costume,
He had
but
fun.
that was a cosplay. That was a fucking cosplay.
He had so much fun. For
Yeah,
real.
you know, Kiki Palmer, she's putting her bid in for Rogue, in the MCU.
Oh,
You
I didn't
got
see that. I seen Rapunzel though.
see, and that's the thing. Like and like, if we had an opportunity, if we had money, if we had chances to really get into the arts of these things,
Mhm.
we blow things out of the water. We would have so much
Absolutely.
fun doing it because we're being creative, we're
Mhm.
being innovative,
Mhm.
and we're not finding ourselves, rest in peace of takeoff, in places that um propagate like bad situations because
Right.
we are because we're so angry or we're so like pent up with so many different things. Like we would be actually creating stuff as opposed to tearing things down. But we're not all in the economical situations to be able um to really fully fulfill that dream. So
Right.
it kind of sucks. It kind of sucks that we could be as creative as we are, and we are pigeonholed into what we're doing just to get by.
Mhm. Now I was gonna ask you exactly. You call them costumes, or is there another name that you use? I don't want to be offensive or anything.
Well, no. I mean, I'm not one of those elitists. um, it, but I mean, you can call them cosplays, you can call them suits, depending upon
Suits.
what it is.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
like
mean
my
suits.
Hawkman. Yeah, my Hawkman is a suit. Like I think that's a suit. My anything that I put together, um, that has multiple components and fits only me.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's a suit.
Okay. How many do you have?
Ooh. uh I okay, so I want to say I have I've done anywhere between 20 to 27 cosplays,
Okay.
but that's there's some people out there who have done well over 500.
So is it a different
They've
suit for each event?
no, no, no. Again, it's all about being creative or what you're feeling at that moment, and you could I definitely reuse some of the stuff that I've
Okay.
um that I've gotten. uh Hell, I I have a $4,000 latex rubber suit of Spawn that I was at a convention with, but then it just so happened to get me put into a King Vader production in
Mhm.
LA. So, that's supposed to be coming out in December. So we'll see how good it looks on camera with special effects and all that. But um yeah, like you reuse suits based on whatever the situation may call for. If it's a video game tournament and you've got a few video game cosplays, you just choose whichever one you feel like doing that day. Or if it's like Mortal Kombat specific or Street
Mhm.
Fighter specific, you pull that one.
Oh, so they have like themes and things like that.
Oh, yeah, these
Okay.
conventions. So like Katsucon, Katsucon that's at the National Harbor in February is an anime convention, and then you got MagFest is a video game convention where you play video games for like four days straight, like it's a 24-hour con. You know, then you got
Wow.
Blurred Con, which is like black centric, where everything in it is just really us. Like it's not exclusive. We're not exclusive, from white folks or whatever or
Mhm.
other races. It's just it's focused on us. Um, and then like you got other conventions that happen to be anime centric, like Otakon, that's at the Walter E Convention Center in DC. And then Fan Expo in Philadelphia, that's mainly a genre convention. So we're talking about like comic books, superheroes, stuff that you would see, like fantasy,
Mm-hmm.
like The Witcher, stuff like that, like Ghostbusters, stuff like that.
So, dang, I almost lost my train of thought. I think I did for a second. What is your favorite suit?
My favorite one, I
But it was something else I wanted to ask. I know it was something else. I'm gonna
see.
have to think.
I've okay. See, I can't help but to attach memories
Okay.
to some of these things, and the one that stands out, the first thing I think about is um Icon with my son,
Mm-hmm.
and I believe he was 6 months old when he and I had like a pair of suits that look alike.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I don't know. I like my Cyclops because it not only is it comfortable, it means something on a black level for me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Spawn is my favorite superhero, so being able to be in a Hollywood production with
Right.
that's dope.
Yeah.
Especially when
That's definitely dope.
you do this as a passion and then it gets you to LA,
Mm-hmm.
or it gets you on stage in Times Square in
Right.
front of like The Rock and everyone
I
else and stuff.
saw
So
that. I actually have a video clip of it.
Lord Jesus.
Let's see. There we go. Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. Doing your thing.
Yeah, doing a little dancey dance.
Do the dance, make a little noise, get down tonight. Oh, I know what I wanted to ask you. So with the cosplays and the con events, are there like rules to, these events? Like, is it do's and don'ts or anything?
There's there's a lot of do's and don'ts,
Okay.
and okay, conventions conventions are places where, let me see the most politically correct way to say this. Conventions are places where a lot of nerds come to. All right, and
Okay.
we, not a lot of us have um the most practiced uh methods of communication.
Mhm.
So, when you're seeing, there's a lot of people who are like introverts and they don't really know how to go about um, talking to people or approaching folks with a level head or with a reasonable or common sense way of doing so, because they really haven't really interacted with folks a lot. That's
Mhm.
that's a stigmatism. That's a stereotype. I'm sad to report that it's actually true for some members of the community,
Mhm.
but these conventions have rules in place, such as cosplay is not consent. you know you might see a cosplayer in a scantily clad suit or cosplay, whether it be like Melina from Mortal Kombat, or any other character that might have some cleavage showing or might have some skin showing. And just because that person is in cosplay does not give you the consent to touch them, does not give you the consent to, you know, to talk to them without, introducing yourself first, like,
Right.
just manners being
Mhm.
proper. Um, when it comes to a lot of the others, like, you go into these convention centers, prohibited items, weapons, and all that stuff. But when it comes to cosplay, you can't have metal weapons because there have been incidents before where cosplayers have tried to kill a uh,
Ooh,
an
really?
actual talent. Yeah, uh,
Oh my gosh.
I think, and I think it was one big story was the original Green Ranger, Jason David Frank, was attacked by a real katana sword or something or another. Like these people, not these people, but these people,
Yeah.
don't really have all the faculties that you would want them to have. So you have to spell things out to them. You cannot bring this, you cannot bring that, in
Right.
order to relegate and regulate, relegate or sorry, regulate the amount of danger that might be presented. Um, Another thing that, you know, it's sad to report, but there are a lot of predators within the nerd community. So, women have been preyed upon where They have been sexually assaulted. I mean, it's anything that you would think could happen at at a quote unquote normal um event can happen at these conventions. But these conventions are some of them are held at hotels,
Mm-hmm.
and you know, you just got to think about like the buddy system, and keep it in mind of what your situational awareness is, who's around you, and it sucks, but people are people. Whether they are into comic books or they're not, they're still people, and some folks have failings that put others in danger.
Mm-hmm. So wow, I didn't know. I'm still stuck on somebody really trying to kill somebody at a cosplay.
Yeah, I mean,
Like that. I wonder what
it's real out
happened.
here.
No, no, for real. Like that is crazy. I never would think. So you mentioned earlier about the nerds or something stuff like that. So you're from PG County. What was it like growing up knowing that you were kind of probably like a little nerdy?
Well, I'm 38. Okay, so I was born in '84, and my formative years, second grade through like what, eighth grade, was 1992 to 1998. So in this area, it was all about Biggie, Tupac, um, TLC, the Fugees. Like,
Mm,
it was that era of hip hop.
mm-hmm.
And if you weren't wearing, blue, gray, just regular colors, or just regular, like, like DMV stuff, like where, some foam posits or some Nike boots, then, or some Tims, like you were already considered one of those, like, you know, Kmart shopping before Walmart was a thing. You would
I
go to
love it.
Kmart, or
Yes.
yeah, what I mean, like it was a very classist way of seeing a bunch of 7-year olds, a bunch of 8-year olds, and they had that mentality because for some reason Jordans was just like, if you had a pair of Jordans, you were like the pinnacle of like or the height of popularity in those years.
Right.
And I just wasn't. My parents weren't focused on that. My parents are military. My parents are Air Force, and we had a comfortable living, that I knew of. I didn't know anything about the bills, or anything like that.
Right.
But the only thing I knew is I had all these Power Ranger toys that I wanted, and I was going to school wearing X-Men T-shirts, having to fight because not only was I wearing those, but I had like my comic cards. Like, they weren't Yu-Gi-Oh cards because I wasn't really into it then. I'm still not into Yu-Gi-Oh like that. I will watch it, but I don't play it. But I had like cards and stuff that I would trade, and people would try to steal them, or they did steal them. And my mom had to come to school and threaten everyone for me to give them back. I mean, it was just difficult to be yourself and not be a part of the bandwagon.
Right.
And since I never knew how to conform to everyone else, I was always set apart, and I
Mm-hmm.
was also a floater.
Mm-hmm.
So my experience growing up isn't is not the typical nerd experience.
Okay.
And actually I was on a panel at BlurredCon back in 2018, that whereas several, like there was like 6 or 7 of us that grew up in so many different fashions, but we all came out to be nerds, but they had different challenges than I did. I
Mm-hmm.
was on a homecoming court in high school. I was on the varsity football team. I was doing ROTC. I was in martial arts. I was, but all the while I was selling Dragon Ball Z dubbed VHS tapes out of my locker. I mean, I I used to work at Toys R Us and sell video games on the side that, I mean, like we made a way, okay? And and my nerdum just made me all the more interested in these things. It never
Mm-hmm.
held me back. I was never the type to, Naruto run through the hallways or anything like that. I would be able to argue comics all day, and I didn't really get introduced to anime until my junior year of high school. I think it was like 2001. But that's not true because I used to watch like Ronin Warriors and Dragon Ball and Sailor Moon and stuff when I was like
Yeah, I saw you
7, 8 years
speaking
old.
about that and how you were
Yeah.
saying
Oh,
it changed. It pretty much changed. I mean, you watched that stuff when you were
yeah.
younger, but now it's like
It's everywhere.
crazy. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. And now you're one of the cool kids if you're into it, and you're not forced into it
yeah,
type deal. And it's disheartening on one level, but then it's also heartening on another level because now that now that I have a 3-year old, whatever he's into is not going to be a thing that's going to get him beat up. It's just how he acts. It's going to get him beat up, you know.
right.
Um, but yeah, that's
Oh,
that's my little one.
I had to put that up there real quick. Ooh,
Thank you.
you're
Yeah.
welcome. So, I know you have the Juneteenth documentary. I think that was one of the first things I seen you in that you sent me, and I was like,
Hmm.
my mouth was like this is really dope. Like a bunch of people that look like me dressed up, and they talking about African mythology. And I don't have a whole lot of knowledge of African mythology. Of course, I've been programmed like everybody else, learning about
Hmm.
the the history that they want to teach you. Um, but I just find it really interesting. Like, how did y'all come about doing the documentary for this? Like, how did this all start?
Well, okay, okay. um, Damn, did we do something before then? Well, okay, so I have been influenced by those who came before me. Again, like I said, Smoke. Eric Moran had his Smoke Con, and um, he had made it possible for people to get ahead on things because he was able to get them in front of actual DSLR cameras and not someone's cell phone. And what I wanted to do was host a photo shoot in order to make people feel as beautiful as they are, as powerful as they feel. And like the concept came about, I think in December of 2020. Yeah, because we did this in 2021. And so I started thinking about, hey, like, what if we got a bunch of photographers together, go out to a park and just, get some pizza delivered or whatever, and have some folks just um come and cosplay. But the theme needed to be something that everyone can get behind. And
Mm-hmm.
my grandmother, Lottie Mae McGill, uh, she used to put together Juneteenth events, back in Florida, like in the mid 90s or so, because Juneteenth or Freedom Day is something that is a common thing in the South,
Right.
whereas it became a national holiday just
Mm-hmm.
last year. And so if this was a way for me to bring people together and we celebrate our Emancipation Day, our Independence Day, in a way that actually was meaningful to each person who was participating, then I think we would have done something for everyone's psyche.
Mm-hmm.
Because my thing was, I don't know, we're sitting here watching all these Greek and Norse mythology stories come out in mainstream media, but the what we get of African mythology is bits and pieces on a show called American Gods, where you see Orlando Jones as Mr. Nancy, and then you see another actress named who's who's playing Bilquist, and we have no knowledge of who these characters are because they're not a part of the mainstream storytelling. So I started gathering people together. I was like, listen, where do you come from?
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, what? And I'm like, what part of the world does your family come from? And I started asking questions that these people just really had no clue about
Mm-hmm.
when it came to their own heritage. And a lot of these folks had to go talk to their grandmothers, their great grandmothers, find out where their lineage came from. And I asked them, well, how about you do a project for me where you figure out what culture you come from? Since we came over in these boats, we lost who we all are. to a degree. You know what I mean? Because Christianity was not our original religion.
Right.
You know, we were not Baptist, we were not Catholic, we weren't any of that. You know, we were something else. So it's like, find out what you were or what you are, and then within that culture, choose a deity that you want to embody, and then come to this event and let's take some pictures. You know, so people found out they were from, like, you know, parts of the Caribbean and they didn't know it. You got some folks that are just from Louisiana. So it's there's a multitude, there's a diaspora, a myriad of all of where we come from. And these cosplayers, first time cosplayers, or these models, came representing their family, their heritage, their culture. And that's why you see so many different types of deities show up for this event. And in my mind, as we started talking about, you know, what can we have them do, you know, I couldn't help but to think, well, I'm a combative person. You know, I am a ESTJ-A, you know, type A personality, that I like confrontation. I thrive off of it. So why not have these people who come from different areas of the world that happen to be black and brown face off against someone that they can collectively get, you know, stand against? And it just so happened in my mind to think, well, why not I just be Kratos, a god of war, where if we played the video games, he massacres pantheons of gods, but then yet he's also called the ghost of Sparta because his entire body is white, because the ashes of his family, his wife and his daughter, are fastened to his skin because he had gotten them killed. So on a real, like, Donald Glover level of things, or Kendrick Lamar thinking, have a whole bunch of black faces stand off against one white face, that means their decimation. You know,
have a video clip of the beginning of your documentary. I want to play it real quick so everybody can see.
okay.
I'm sorry. I want to very good.
It's very hard to speak of African anything without drastically oversimplifying its diverse creations and beliefs within the people of Africa. What may be known to many as Greek mythology, Norse gods, and similar, many people have no idea that some can be traced back to Africa. African history is rich with religious, spirituality, and culture that creates a dynamic web of old and new existence. A group of cosplay individuals is going to take you through a journey and bring exposure to African deities. The real story starts now.
music that went on. Oh snap! My bad, my bad. So that was just a small clip, and seeing
Yeah,
it,
it's
I
only
was like,
28
oh,
minutes.
I was, I was like, yo,
It's only
this is a
28
whole
minutes.
like real documentary and everything. Like it was put together very, very, very nice. Everybody
Thank
looked
you.
good. So it's what it's called, a rise. No, that's not it. Where am I getting a rise from? Deities of the African American Dysphoria. Where did I get a rise from?
Oh no.
That might be the next episode. Um,
Well,
so will y'all be doing something like that again?
what I'm planning now, because I've got a group chat of the photographers um, that were a part of the first one,
Okay.
and also the second one that we did this year. But what we're doing, what we're right now, what I want to do is have the photographers come up with something that they want to shoot. Because we can come up with themes, and photographers can photographers are artists as well. And if they are like if creatively fed, then you can't you would be amazed by how their art changes, how the photos come out. So, right now we're going through a whole think tank process of coming up with ideas as to what they would want to shoot. And I've given them a deadline of like December 1 so that I can give my cosplayers or give my people, time to figure things out. But as far as like making another documentary, no. Excuse me. As far as me making productions, well, the first thing I produced was the He-Man
Mhm.
music video that we did back in 2019 at BlurredCon.
Mhm.
And then there's the documentary that I'm pushing at several film festivals. Like I've been traveling the film festival circuit, between PG and um, Raleigh, North Carolina, and right now it's being screened in Vancouver, Canada, for a
Wow.
couple of awards and such. Like it's okay. So for everyone who doesn't know, you can submit your video to any film festival. You can even
Mhm.
do it to Cannes.
Mhm.
Cannes is like that big, prestigious whatever. You just gotta pay money for it. You just gotta pay like $150 for it or $25. It doesn't really matter. But you can pay the money to have it be looked at,
Mhm.
but whether or not it gets screened in front of a lot of people who attend the festival, that's that's something you can't pay for. That's something that
That's just
the people who choose your product
mhm.
are the ones who feel like your product embodies
Okay.
their film festival. And for this documentary, our documentary, because not just
Mhm.
mine, but um for our documentary to be screened at you know these really nice film festivals, and like they're
Mhm.
new or they're trying to make a name for themselves or they're well established. That's something that I can't be more than happy and proud of,
Right.
because like I'm still carrying my grandmother's legacy forward by
Right.
highlighting the what Juneteenth is about and how it affects us as a people.
Mhm.
So I'm incredibly proud about that. But just this past weekend, we filmed. Like I got about I got about 42 cosplayers together this time, and uh, see, back in July, me and three other cosplayers we were in some X-Men um, cosplay,
Mhm.
and the four of us took some cell phone pictures and had them edited, and it got picked up by Screen Rant. They did two articles on us, and then Comic Book Resources did an article on us, and people were like, "Yo, so if the four of you did this kind of damage, imagine what you could do if it was bigger."
Mm.
So I started thinking about, again, putting together people for another photo shoot, but then instead of doing a photo shoot, let's do something with actual motion picture. Let's get a videographer. Let's get a composer. And like I set up everything on IMDb, and or just the Internet Movie Database. And so right now it's a fully fledged production that I'm producing, and we filmed it this past weekend at Baltimore Comic Con. And right now we're in editing
Mm.
and we're post production. And so, visual effects are going to be a thing. We'll see how it goes. We had a lot of people who didn't show up on time, so we had to shift around the shooting schedule, and a
Mm-hmm.
lot of things that we wanted to shoot we couldn't because we ran out of time. And we still going to have I believe a really good product, but this is just once again a proof of concept of
Right.
what we as cosplayers or as a community can do. So
Mm-hmm.
that those 4 people in at BlurredCon turned into 42 people, and that's now being talked about. Let's do a small series
Yeah,
of
I would love that.
individual like one shots for each of
Yeah.
the people there. You know what I mean? Like, so the folks that I work with want to continue to keep working because they like the creativity that's being had, and
Mm-hmm.
they want to continue to produce as much as they possibly can. And yeah, so that's that. As far as to answer your original question, are we going to do another Juneteenth thing? We are.
Mm.
It's just going to be the same weekend as Awesome Con, which is Father's Day weekend. So that's going to be a packed weekend, which is
Oh.
like what, the June 18th of 2023, that weekend there. So yeah, and we're going to continue to try and keep doing it as much as I possibly, or every year as much as we can. But if my schedule starts to fill up because I have like superseding projects, then I hope someone else takes it over.
Yeah, you doing a lot. I am proud. Hold on, where's my claps at? Yay! No, I'm really proud. Like you said, you got a divorce and you started finding something else to do, and you know what I mean. It took off. Like that was
Yeah,
fun. I mean, not the
yeah,
divorce, but you get what I'm saying. Like you're having fun doing what you do. So you
yeah.
have something coming up actually, this weekend.
This weekend, yes. J1 Con. Yeah,
J1
J1
Con.
Con is at the Showboat Hotel in Atlantic City, New Jersey.
Now I said I was going to try to make one of these. What time does it start?
Oh,
It's during the day.
it starts on Friday, ends on Sunday.
Okay, so what time does it start on Friday?
Uh, I believe
Or I could come Sunday.
11. Yeah. Let's see. Listen, I'll be there early Saturday morning with my son Kawhi. Um,
Okay.
and then we'll be leaving Sunday afternoon early enough to get back to Maryland so I can get him back to his mother on time.
Oh, okay.
So, like that's my deal there. But um yeah, like J1 Con is a anime and gaming convention. It's black owned.
Oh.
Uh and it's the longest running black owned convention in the country. So Jason would, Jason Richardson is the owner of it,
Okay.
and he would be elated to have people come and sharing his vision. So I am, yeah, you said that I'm doing a lot. I'm trying to help. I'm trying to help the
No,
community.
it's different and it is fun. Like, so if I come, do I gotta dress up? I could just be.
No,
No, I'm gonna dress up. I'm gonna dress up. I don't know what I'm gonna
no.
be,
I mean, you listen,
but
listen,
I
listen.
wanna dress up.
Okay, listen. Cosplay is. I hate to make this kind of analogy, but I had no choice. But cosplay is like sex, whereas if you're not enthusiastic about the occurrence, then it's going to be painful and it's going to be on your you're going to be on you're going to just be annoyed the entire time doing it.
Okay.
Think about it. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
if you're not comfortable, it's going to
Mhm.
suck. If you don't
Mhm.
have the right equipment, it's going to suck. Like it's very much like this. So don't force yourself to do something that you're not comfortable or ready to do yet. Just go feel
Okay.
everything out, see how people move, and then see if it's for you. Like, that's nobody's forcing you to dress up in cosplay because you want to come to a comic book convention. Like, there's people who come in t-shirt and jeans just coming to buy comics. They're
Okay.
not looking for cosplay. They're not looking for the panels. They're not looking for any of the celebrities. They want to get their comic books.
So you said 11 o'clock on Friday,
I
11
think so.
in the
I
morning.
think so.
I
Yeah, it
can't.
starts like things start, but things don't get going until like the afternoon, evening, and then like there's always parties and such and such and such and such and
I
such. I
can't go
mean,
to that. BD.
against our hotels,
Oh,
but
this is gonna be fun. I'm sorry. I'm
what
excited
what I
to.
wanted to what I wanted to like highlight also is not just Jason's convention or J1 Con, but I am starting. I've been on this initiative for a little bit now, where I've been able to talk to the right people to get
Mm-hmm.
things started. Like if you saw some of the videos that I did in New York, there's one video where I hand Aldous Hodge a flash drive, and this flash drive is a pitch deck for an event to host at San Diego Comic Con for Black
Wow.
investors. Okay,
Wow.
so my plan is to try to elevate 5 Black-owned conventions to the point where they can be self-sustaining in their funding for the foreseeable future.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we as a culture, we invest in ourselves when we feel like there's a return on investment.
Mm-hmm.
So if there's a lot of high dollar investors out there or people who just want to put in on something to see if something grows, San Diego Comic Con does 130,000 people per day.
What?
Okay, that means that convention for 4 to 5 days owns the city of San Diego, and not just in the hotel industry. We're talking about the restaurants, talking about the clubs, we're talking
Mm-hmm.
about local businesses,
Right.
and you have to imagine what that does for the city's revenue. Okay, people are taking public transportation. People are using the economy there that don't live in San Diego. So it's like a really big thing. It's a boom for their economy. So imagine if we have these 5 Black-owned conventions in these 5 cities, whether it be Oakland, California for Afro Comic Con,
Oh
Houston,
wow.
Texas for DreamCon,
Mm.
Atlantic City, New Jersey for J1 Con, uh, Black Label Comic Con is in Philadelphia.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then you got BlurredCon, which is in Crystal City, Virginia. Um, if these conventions were able to have the notoriety, the popularity, the funding, somewhat close to the level of San Diego Comic Con, then not only would you see Black-owned businesses flourish because
Mm-hmm.
these, you know, case in point, vendors have to pay a booth fee at these
Yes.
conventions in order to exhibit, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The highest amount that I've seen at San Diego Comic Con was $18,000. Now,
18.
imagine, yeah, imagine if we're able to get companies like Xbox or, Bethesda or any of these other like, huge companies to exhibit at these Black-owned conventions. Those people who are investors get a return on their investment almost instantly.
Mm.
you know
Yeah.
and what are we doing? We're fueling the Black economy, we're fueling the Black creativity in these children, because we're expanding their knowledge base on what's possible for them.
Right.
No longer are we relegated to having to be in a trade. No longer do we have to go to college in order to be seen as successful. There are different paths for
Mm-hmm.
Black folks to feel and be successful. It's just a matter of being able to see it
Mm-hmm.
and to feel it and for it
Mm-hmm.
to be tangible. So in 2019, San Diego had there was a runner for a party that was a part of um the Warner Brothers family, and she created the Blurred and Bougie comic book convention or comic party, and it was a
Mm-hmm.
yacht party. And you would see the CW stars from like The Flash or Black Lightning or Legends of Tomorrow on a boat, basically partying with a bunch of Black folks having a great time. And like it felt, when I was there, it felt like I was home. It felt like I was at like a Philly party, or it felt like I was at a DC party, or it just felt like I was around my people. It felt like BlurredCon for a quick second.
Mm-hmm.
And And when I went this year in 2022, there was no such thing. So my endeavor, my pitch is to host a blurred and powerful party in order to bring the high dollar investors and to bring black folks back out to San Diego Comic Con, which happens to be mecca for our nerdum. And and be able to have these conventions, these 5 black owned conventions exhibit and pitch their cons to these investors so that they can see what's possible and
Right.
they can gain the ability to be self-sustaining as far as their funding. So that's what I'm putting together. That's who I'm talking to. That's who I'm pitching things to, because I hate to see these black owned conventions just be in halls
Mm-hmm.
or have to struggle or have to pull their life savings out every single year in order to fund the convention in hopes that it makes a profit. Like,
Mm-hmm.
that's what's happening with us.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm hoping that, well, I'm not hoping. I'm actually working actively towards that goal and making that thing actually happen. And I'm talking to the right folks for it. So between that and a potential TV deal, I'm busy. Yes.
You got it, man. Did you ever think, you know, that this would happen, like, at all? Like, was you just? I mean, it just, like you said, it happened overnight. Like, so it kind of answered my own
No,
question.
no. I mean, because it's because I said there have been folks who've been in cosplay for 20, 30 years, 10 years or so, and you know they have made strides in what they've endeavored to do, but somehow, some way, the lightning in the bottle story that I've had is different from everyone else's. You got
Mm-hmm.
your cutie pie senseis, you got your Yaya Hans, and they are great, entrepreneurs and marketing gurus.
Mm-hmm.
But being able to come into the community in under 5 years
Yeah.
and you know have enough influence to have people listen and just find yourself in places that other folks would never be in. That that's not something that I take for granted, but I'm not going to shirk away from being able to say I I made a lot of that happen with who and what I am on the inside.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so no, I didn't think it was going to happen, but I'm glad that it did.
Yeah.
I'm glad that we are giving people the opportunity to feel powerful, to feel beautiful, and to feel like they can make changes within their own community if
Mm-hmm.
they get behind the right people, and do the work.
Mm-hmm. Do the groundwork, and we gonna get you them followers too. That's what we gonna do, because we want that action figure. Yo, like, that would be so dope,
Well,
man.
I'm
Like,
not
that you in
banking on
talks with
Mattel.
Mattel, but still, like, Mattel's a big brand. Like, come on,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
Get
I'm not
some
gonna
love.
like I said, I'm not gonna shirk away from that. I'm not gonna shrink away from that. That
Right.
was a big deal. Um, but I am glad that they finally brought Sunman onto the Masters of the Universe line, which is something they should have done back in the '80s. But I guess I just hope that whatever I'm doing, they don't have to wait. Actually, no, they shouldn't have to wait. I got a
Mm-hmm.
comic book in my face. My face is in a comic book that's based on. No, that doesn't make any sense. Let me stop talking on that because it's going to start to annoy me that whatever everything that I've done should be writing on the wall for them to make money,
Right.
but
Right.
whatever.
Well, I thank you so much, and I'm proud of you, man. Like, I don't know
Thank you.
you like that, but I see you moving. I see the content and stuff that you put out. Like, you're very consistent, and I appreciate that. And I appreciate you wanting to help the Black community with a different avenue and a different way of thinking with the cosplay and the con stuff like that. This is
Yeah,
so dope, like, really dope.
yeah.
I just
You
want
you
to say
find
thank
you
you.
find your lane and you find your lane and then you just go with it. You just hit the gas.
Get in the car, step on the gas, and you about the way and let them pet. Okay, sorry, I thought I was a rapper. Um, my bad. But I want to say say thank you so much, Mr. Halt, because I'm still going to call you Mr. Halt. It just sounds so. Are you related to Martell Halt, by the way? I just wanted to know that. I've been holding that one in
A-
for so
Am I
long.
relate to who?
Martell Halt from Love and Marriage Huntsville.
No,
I
no.
was, I was
There's
wanting
another
to ask
whole.
you that from the beginning. So, I'm
No,
sorry. I'm sorry.
my cousin is Torrey Holt, um,
Oh, okay.
from the NFL. And yeah, and I think that's the only famous cousin that I think that I have.
Because they from
I don't
Alabama. Alabama.
know. Yeah,
So
no.
I was just wondering. Okay. Well, thank you again, Mr. Holt. I appreciate it, aka HELLSPAWN. And I have your link tree up here. This is where they could find you at. You know, they have the
Yes,
link tree with the Instagram, your TikTok, your
there's apparel.
yeah, all that good
There's
stuff.
there's yeah, there's a lot of stuff there. Uh, the men's health article, um, the interviews on YouTube. Yes, there's a lot of stuff there. I've been working,
You
and
definitely working.
yeah, I just hope that I hope it helps somebody. Actually, you know what? It has helped people because I get messages randomly where people are just like, I'm glad you said something. So that's good enough for me. So long as I continue to actually make things happen, I'm good. I'm good.
And when I looked at you, I was like, he is a superhero already. Like even without the dressing up, like you just got superhero face. Like dun 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 dun. He a handsome young man. Look at him. He just superhero. Like you got it all. Like you lucky duck you. Okay, I'm sorry.
Appreciate you.
Well, all right, we're going to get ready to go and wrap up this show. Thank you again, and make sure you guys follow me at Tasha Little Queen. I don't even got my name up here. I don't know where it's at. It's somewhere up there. Boom, we'll use that one. Tasha Little Queen. I'm on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, whatever. Philly Jams also, Philly Jams 953 on Instagram and Facebook, YouTube. You on Twitch? Yeah, and we on TikTok. But I got to keep posting on TikTok,
Yeah.
so yeah. All right. Well, thank you so very much. I
Thank you.
holla.
All right, now thank you for having me.
No problem. Bye.